across local matters.
Yes, sir. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors have been proudly serving the people of this community since 1918. Service is our motto. The poor, the rich, the middle class, and all are given the best of care and attention at all times. You have the privilege to select what you want. In your time of need, contact the capable, the competent, and the dependable staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home who is genuinely concerned with your care. At J.W. Williams Funeral Home, you are aptly served by the proprietor president, Deacon Arthur L. Parker, who continues the traditions and values set forth by the past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams. Your announcers for the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Sunday morning program are Deacon Arthur L. Parker, Reverend Isaac H. Owens, Mrs. Alondra Wilkerson Parker, Minister Frankie Harmon, Miss Sandra Johnson, and Deacon Earl Clark, Jr.
Thank you, and good morning, friends. We come to you this morning to bring announcements, dedications, and songs. We certainly hope that your day may be brighter after listening to our program. The family of Deaconess Gladys Brown Williams of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mrs. Eloise Tinsley Byram of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mr. Dontavius Montreal Yao of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Miss Ella May Morgan of Americus, Georgia. The family of Mrs. Millie Lee Thornton Dean of Orlando, Florida. The family of her sister, Mother Mamie Ruth Mapp of Cordele, Georgia. The family of United States Army veteran, Mr. Benny Cross Jr. of Americus, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for the food, the flowers, the condolences, and all other expressions of sympathy and kindness shown to them during their hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. Deaconess Gladys Brown Williams, age 87, of 1811 Doris Street, Cordele, Georgia, died Wednesday, June 30th at her residence in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Deaconess Gladys Brown Williams, age 87, was held Monday, July 5th, at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Portico in Cordele, Georgia. Her pastor, Dr. Dwayne Daniels, pastor of her beloved Beulah Land Baptist Church, officiated. The eulogy was delivered by the Reverend Chester L. Askin. The burial followed at the Bethel Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include 11 and devoted children, Ms. Gail Jackson of Snellville, Georgia, Mrs. Joyce Crawford and her husband, Mr. Robert Crawford of Pooler, Georgia, Mrs. Linda Wright of Albany, Georgia, Mrs. Cheryl Nixon and her husband, Mr. Freddie Nixon of Cordele, Georgia, Mr. Scotty Williams and his wife, Mrs. Johanne Williams of Fayetteville, Georgia, and Mrs. Teresa Jackson and her husband, Mr. Vancourt Jackson of Jacksonville, Florida. 11 beloved and devoted grandchildren, 9 great-grandchildren, 2 loving and devoted sisters, past mayor of the city of Albany, Mrs. Dorothy Brown Hubbard, and her husband, Mr. Robert Hubbard of Albany, Georgia, and Mrs. Annie Marie Brown of Ohio. 2 beloved brothers, Mr. Alex Brown of Americus, Georgia, and Mr. Ernest Brown and his wife, Mrs. Vita Brown of Atlanta, Georgia. A host of nieces and nephews, many cousins, her devoted caregivers, Mrs. Janet Dawson and Mrs. Claudia Waters, and the hospice staff of Chris Regional Hospital. A host of other relatives and many sorrowing friends survived. Deaconess Gladys Brown Williams, age 87, of 1811 Doris Street, Cordele, Georgia. Mrs. Eloise Tinsley Byram, age 71, of 1502 Pecan Street, Cordele, Georgia, died Saturday, July 3rd at the Chris Regional Hospital in Cordele, Georgia. Funeral service for Mrs. Eloise Tinsley Byram, age 71, was held Friday, July 9th at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Portico in Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved granddaughter, Prophetess Lakeisha Williams, officiated. Survivors include her beloved husband, Mr. Willie James Byram of Cordele, Georgia, her loving and devoted children, Mrs. Yvette Coleman of Cordele, Georgia, Mrs. Yolanda McKenzie of Titusville, Florida, Mr. Antavius Byram, and Mr. DeMarco Grant of Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved grandchildren, Prophetess Lakita Williams of Titusville, Florida, Mr. Pierre Coleman and Miss Chastity Coleman of Cordele, Georgia, Miss Jasmine Hall of California, Mr. Anjarius Levant, Miss Jamia Graham and Miss Jamelia Graham of Cordele, Georgia, Miss Kara Byram of Pensacola, Florida, Mrs. Desora McKeever of Cordele, Georgia, 29 beloved great-grandchildren, her beloved godchildren, Felita, Craig, and Dominic of Cordele, Georgia, and Tammy of Douglasville, Georgia. Her special niece, Mr. Warner Walker of Athens, Georgia. Her special cousin, Ms. Rose Barnes, and Ms. May Tinsley of Washington, D.C., Ms. Brenda Smith of Maryland, Ms. Beverly Tinsley of Atlanta, Georgia. A host of other relatives and many sorrowing friends, to include her special friend, Miss Erica McKenzie, Miss Sabrina Smith, Miss Christine Callahan, Miss Mary Harris, and Mr. Ray Baldwin of Cordele, Georgia, survived. Mrs. Eloise Tinsley Byram, age 71, of 1502 Pecan Street, Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Dontavius Montreal Yah, age 35, of 821 Pateville Heights Court, Cordele, Georgia, died Friday, July 2nd, at the Heart of Georgia Hospice in Perry, Georgia. The funeral service for Mr. Dontavius Montreal Yah, age 35, was held Saturday, July 10, 2021, at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Portico in Cordele, Georgia. The Reverend Isaac H. Owens, pastor of the Mount Calvary Baptist Church, officiated. The burial followed at the Bethel Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include his beloved and devoted parents, Miss Pamela Yah and her companion, Mr. Jamian Trice, and Mr. Craig Jackson Sr. and his companion, Miss Sheila Smith, all of Cordele, Georgia. His beloved brothers, Mr. Craig Jackson Jr. and Mr. Dunquay Jackson of Cordele, Georgia. His beloved grandparents, Miss Jerry Jackson, and Mr. James and Miss Lucy Trice, all of Cordele, Georgia. His beloved aunts and uncles, Miss Stephanie Yah and her husband, Mr. Avery Yah, Mr. Kelvin Solomon, and Miss Shaquita Mapp, all of Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Maurice Yah and his wife, Mrs. Keisha Yah of Atlanta, Georgia. His beloved great aunts and great uncles, Miss Evelyn Wiggins and her husband, Cordele City Commission Chairman, Deacon John Wiggins, Miss Charlotte Yah, Mr. Benjamin Yah, and Mr. Andrew Yah, all of Cordele, Georgia. Miss Geraldine Brown of Warner Robins, Georgia. Beloved nieces and nephews, 2 sisters-in-law, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends, to include his caregiver, Mr. Warner Washington and Mr. Marlo Smith, survived Mr. Dontavius Montreal Yah, age 35, of 821 Hateville Heights Court, Cordele, Georgia. Miss Ella Mae Morgan, age 77, of 124 Pinecrest Drive, Americus, Georgia, died Monday, July 5th, at the Lillian Carter Nursing Home in Plains, Georgia. Funeral service for Miss Ella Mae Morgan, age 77, was held Saturday, July 10th, graveside at the Eastview Cemetery in Americus, Georgia. The Reverend Isaac H. Owens, pastor of the Mount Calvary Baptist Church, officiated. Survivors include 11 and devoted children, Mr. Grover C. Morgan, Mrs. Lillian Veronica Morgan Hopper, and her husband, Mr. Glenn Hopper, all of Americus, Georgia. Mr. Clifford B. Morgan and his wife, Mrs. Maggie Morgan, Miss Maddie B. Morgan, all of Albany, Georgia. Her beloved grandchildren, Miss Marissa Hopper, Mr. Glenn Hopper and his wife, Mrs. Bianca Hopper, Mr. Terrence Morgan, and Mr. Clifford B. Morgan, Jr., all of Americus, Georgia. 4 beloved great-grandchildren, 3 devoted brothers, Mr. Jesse L. West and his wife, Mrs. Betty West of Columbus, Ohio, Mr. Virgil L. Morgan of Americus, Georgia, the Reverend Dr. Robert L. Morgan and his wife, Mrs. Chandra Morgan of Americus, Georgia. 3 devoted sisters, Dr. Mary Nell Brown and her husband, Mr. William Brown of Greenwick, New York. Mrs. Mary Frances M. Pride of Americus, Georgia. And Mrs. Linda F. Smith and her husband, Mr. Eddie Smith of Atlanta, Georgia. A host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survived Miss Ella Mae Morgan, age 77, of 124 Pinecrest Drive, Americus, Georgia. Mother Millie Lee Thornton Dean, age 87, of 2930 Martin Street, Orlando, Florida, died Monday, June 28, at the Avent Health Inpatient Hospice in Alamo Springs, Florida. The funeral service for Mother Millie Lee Thornton Dean, age 87, was held Saturday, July 10th at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Portico in Cordele, Georgia. Elder Alonzo Johnson of the Ark of God Ministry officiated. The eulogy was delivered by Elder Johnny Mason. The burial followed at the Westview Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include her beloved son-in-law, Pastor Willie Daniels of Albany, New York, 5 beloved grandchildren, Miss Erin Daniels, Mr. Stevens Dean, Mr. Tymere Dean, Mr. DeLong Dean, and Mr. Stevens Dean Jr., all of Albany, New York. A devoted sister, Mother Mamie R. Mapp of Cordele, Georgia. Her beloved sister-in-law, Mrs. Clara Thornton of Brooklyn, New York. A host of beloved and devoted nieces and nephews, many cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mother Millie Lee Thornton Dean, age 87, of 2930 Martin Street, Orlando, Florida. And her beloved sister, Mother Mamie Ruth Mapp, age 73, of 826 Paintville Heights Circle, Cordele, Georgia, died Friday, July 2nd, at her residence in Cordele, Georgia. The funeral service for Mother Mamie Ruth Mapp, age 73, was held Saturday, July 10th, at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home Portico in Cordele, Georgia. Elder Alonzo Johnson of the Ark of God Ministry officiated. The eulogy was delivered by Elder Johnny Mason. The burial followed at the Westview Cemetery in Cordele, Georgia. Survivors include 11 and devoted children, Mr. Dwayne L. Mapp, Deacon Derek Mapp and his wife, Deaconess Sharon Mapp, and Mrs. Shaquilla Mapp of Cordele, Georgia. Mr. Willard D. Huffins Jr. and his wife, Mrs. Brandy Huffins of Atlanta, Georgia. Mrs. Latasha Mapp Cato and her spouse, Mrs. Lakeisha Cato of Albany, Georgia. Pastor David Johnson and his wife, co-pastor Cynthia Johnson of the Ark of God of Cordele, Georgia. Evangelist Paulette Thornton Smith of Albany, Georgia. Mr. Hewlin Gamble of Miami, Florida. Miss Pamela Yao and Miss Natasha Hopper of Cordele, Georgia. Her loving and devoted grandchildren, her beloved great-grandchildren, her special sisters, Miss Brenda Farrell, Minister Vernell Thomas, Miss Sandra Jackson, Mrs. Pauline Kemp Morgan, Miss Alicia Williams, and Miss LaQuetta Bivens. Her beloved brothers, Mr. Wallace Farrell of Cordele, Georgia, and Mr. Eugene Farrell of Miami, Florida. A host of nieces, nephews, great nieces, great nephews, a host of cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mother Mamie Ruth Mapp, age 73 of 826, Pikeville Heights Circle, Cordele, Georgia. United States Army veteran, Mr. Benny Cross Jr., age 74, of 213 Shallow Road, Americus, Georgia, died Tuesday, July 6, at the Phoebe Putnam Memorial Hospital in Albany, Georgia. In accordance with his wishes, the remains were cremated and no service is scheduled. Survivors include his loving and devoted wife, Mrs. Willie Jewel Cross of Americus, Georgia, his loving and devoted children, Mr. Juan Cross of Detroit, Michigan, Mr. Benny Cross III and his wife, Mrs. Olita Cross of Chevytown, Michigan, Mrs. Bernetta Williams and her husband, Mr. Wendell Williams of Bowie, Maryland, Miss Jessica Williams of Detroit, Michigan, 9 beloved grandchildren, 3 great-grandchildren, his beloved sisters, Mrs. Fanny Frazier Pittman of Albany, Georgia, Mrs. Pinky Addy and her husband, Mr. Robert Addy of Arlington, Texas, and Mrs. Annette Washington of Ohio. His beloved brothers, Mr. Jimmy Powers and his wife, Mrs. Beverly Powers, and Mr. Willie B. Powers and his wife, Mrs. Elaine Powers, both of Atlanta, Georgia. 1 sister-in-law, Mrs. Joyce Franklin. 1 brother-in-law, Mr. Freddie Franklin. A host of nieces, nephews, cousins, other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. United States Army veteran, Mr. Benny Cross Jr., age 74, of 213 Shallow Road, Americus, Georgia. Again. Again, the family of Deaconess Gladys Brown Williams of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Mrs. Eloise Tinsley Byram of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Mr. Dontavius Montreal Yah of Cordele, Georgia, the family of Miss Ella Mae Morgan of Americus, Georgia, the family of Mother Millie Lee Thornton Dean of Orlando, Florida, the family of her sister, Mother Mamie Ruth Mapp of Cordele, Georgia, the family of United States Army veteran, Mr. Benny Lee Cross Jr. of Americus, Georgia, would like to thank their many friends for all of the many kindnesses shown to them during the hours of sorrow and bereavement during the past week. May God bless each of you, is their prayer. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors, serving Cordele and Vienna, were in charge of each of these arrangements during the past week. And now, it is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcements. Miss Carolyn Foster, age 88, 510 East Forsyth Street, Americus, Georgia, died Wednesday, July 7th at the Phoebe Sumter Medical Center in Americus, Georgia. Survivors include her loving and devoted children, Mr. Charlie Foster and his wife, Mrs. Irene Foster of Americus, Georgia, and Mrs. Annie Jackson and her husband, Mr. George Jackson of Lithonia, Georgia. 6 loving and devoted grandchildren, Mr. Lionel Foster, Mr. Charlie Foster, Mr. Timmy Foster, and Miss Bernetta Battle, all of Americus, Georgia. Miss Sheila Jackson of Atlanta, Georgia, and Miss Chandra Jackson of Durham, North Carolina. 7 beloved great-grandchildren, a beloved daughter-in-law, Mrs. Donna Thomas Foster of Americus, Georgia. Her beloved and devoted sisters, Mrs. Bernice Dixon of Tampa, Florida, Mrs. Annie Glover of Atlanta, Georgia, and Mrs. Annie Barnes of Detroit, Michigan. A beloved aunt, Mother Lucille Daniels of Atlanta, Georgia. A host of other relatives and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Miss Carolyn Foster, age 88, 510 East Forsyth Street, Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Carolyn Foster, age 88, will be held Monday, July 12 at 12 noon, graveside at Eastview Cemetery in Americus, Georgia. Her pastor, the Reverend Tommy Law, pastor of the Welcome Baptist Church, will officiate. The public walk-up visitation will be today, Sunday, July 11, from 1 until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Cummy Ruth Cottle Wright, age 77, of 136 Loop Road, Plains, Georgia, died Wednesday, July 7th at the Phoebe Sumter Medical Center in Americus, Georgia. Survivors include her beloved and devoted brother, Mr. Lawrence Britt, and his wife, Mrs. Irene Britt of Americus, Georgia. Her beloved uncle, Elder J.L. Raven of Americus, Georgia. Her beloved nieces and nephew, Mrs. Cassandra Davis of Plainsfield, New Jersey. Mr. Keith Davis and his wife, Mrs. Bernadette Davis of Mount Lawrence, New Jersey. Mrs. Ida Davis of Ewing, New Jersey. Mr. Jerome Davis and his wife, Mrs. Rita Davis of Plainfield, New Jersey. Mrs. Alicia Duck and her husband, Mr. Vincent Duck of Dawson, Georgia. Mr. Broderick Hawkins and his wife, Mrs. Natava Hawkins of Winers, Georgia. Mr. Jeffrey Hawkins and his wife, Mrs. Lakeisha Hawkins of Sanford, Florida. Mr. Warner Turpinseed and his wife and her husband, Mr. Derek Turpinseed of McDonald, Georgia. Mr. Jeremy Hawkins and his wife, Mrs. Kristen Hawkins of Richmond, Kentucky. Mrs. Makiba Allen and her husband, Mr. Chase Allen of Augusta, Georgia. Mrs. Javita Britt of Columbus, South Carolina. Miss Giovanna Robinson and her husband, Mr. Michael Robinson of Leesburg, Georgia. And Mr. Shimon Britt of Americus, Georgia. A host of nieces, great-nieces, great-nephews, her devoted cousins, her sister-in-law, Mrs. Patricia B. Caldwell, and her husband, Mr. Ricky Caldwell, of Smithfield, Georgia. Her beloved church family, the St. John AME Church of Plains, Georgia, a host of other relatives, and many, many sorrowing friends survive. Mrs. Cummy Ruth Cottle Wright, age 77, 136 Luke Road, Plains, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Cummy Ruth Cottle Wright, age 77, will be held Wednesday, July 14, 2021, at 12 noon at the Lebanon Cemetery in Plains, Georgia. Her pastor, the Reverend Shirley Strawder, pastor of the St. John AME Church of Plains, Georgia, will officiate. The Reverend George F. Muntz will deliver the eulogy. The public walk-up visitation will be Tuesday, July 13, from 1 until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. The J.W. Williams Funeral Directors, serving Cordele and Diana, are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. Friends, that conclude our funeral notices for this morning. And as always, we do remind you concerning our pre-funeral arrangements planning available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, with packages available with a single pay, a 3-year pay, a 5-year pay, and a 10-year pay. So please stop by and talk with us concerning your funeral arrangements needs available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home, and also whole life insurance is available at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. And now for announcements. The New Poplar Springs Baptist Church of Byronville, Georgia, invites everyone to join them today, Sunday, at 9:45 a.m. via conference call. You may dial 253-993-3761. Again, 253-993-3761 for worship service this morning at 9:45 a.m. The New Poplar Springs Baptist Church of Byronville, Georgia. The pastor, Reverend Johnny Dean, invites everyone. 253-993-3761. The Spring Hill Baptist Church of Tippettville, Georgia, invites everyone to drive up and worship service each first and third Sundays at 11 a.m. Sister Mary Ann Lewis, Church Secretary, Deacon Sam Anderson, Chairman of Deacons, the Reverend Choice Cobb, Senior Pastor. Christ Chapel, Unadilla Weekly Food Pantry is open Wednesdays from 3 until 6 p.m. and everyone is invited. Christ Chapel, Unadilla Weekly Food Pantry is open Wednesdays from 3 until 6. The Free Providence Baptist Church of Vienna, Georgia, in-house worship service will be today, Sunday, July 11th at 11 a.m. Deacon Eric Lundy, Chairman of Deacons, the Reverend Choice Cobb, Senior Pastor. The Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church invites everyone to pull up in praise each Sunday at 10 a.m. The Reverend Gregory Williams, pastor. Service located at 1818 U.S. Highway 41 North, Cordele, Georgia. Emmanuel Missionary Baptist Church, pull up in praise each Sunday at 10 a.m. The Reverend Gregory Williams, pastor. St. King's Baptist Church invites every third Sundays at 8 a.m. hour of prayer worship service at 9 a.m. for Sunday school at 10:15 a.m. The St. King Baptist Church 18th anniversary will be Sunday, July 11. Today, the Reverend Joyce A. Daniels will deliver the message. Reverend Woody C. Barnum, pastor. The Reverend Joyce Daniels, co-pastor. The Mount Zion First African Baptist Church conference call schedule Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Prayer Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12 noon. Bible study each Wednesday at 5 p.m. The conference number is 515-604-9765. Asset code 288180. Deacon Joe Wedges, Chairman of Deacons. Dr. Dan James III, Pastor. The New St. Stephen's Church Fresh Fire Revival will be Saturday, July 17th at 7 p.m. and Sunday, July 18th at 5 p.m. Dr. Timothy C. Boone of Faith Perfecting Life Center, Warner Robins, Georgia, will be the revivalist. Face masks required. Dr. Frankie Harmon, pastor. The Zion Hope Baptist Church in-house worship service today, Sunday, July 11th at 11:30 a.m. Mother Leela Smith, church mother, Deacon Xavier Bryant Jr., Chairman of Deacons, and the Reverend Willie James Felton, pastor. The Gethsemane Baptist Church outdoor worship service on the grounds of the Gethsemane Baptist Church each Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Everyone is asked to wear a face mask. The Gethsemane Baptist Church Family and Friends Day will be today, Sunday, July 11th at 10:30 a.m. on the grounds of the church. Everyone is invited. Mother Mary Butler, church mother, Deacon Johnny Wilson, Chairman of Deacons, the Reverend Cecil Strawder, pastor. The New Provisor Missionary Baptist Church, 3014 Sylvester Highway, Albany, Georgia. Installation service for the Reverend Donnie R. Hall Sr. will be Sunday, July 25th at 10 a.m. The Reverend Napoleon Cooper of the Mount Zion Baptist Church of Camilla, Georgia, will be the guest minister. Everyone is invited. Deacon Freddie Stevens, Chairman of Deacons, and the Reverend Donnie R. Hall Sr., pastor. A community-wide Bike to School Bash will be Saturday, July 31st at the Chris County Recreation Center, 1205 North 5th Street, Cordele, Georgia, from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. There will be backpack and supplies given away, bounce houses and games for fun, college military recruiters, free haircut, girl braids, and others. The community-wide Bike to School Bash will be Saturday, July 31st at the Chris County Recreation Center, 1205 North 5th Street, Cordele, Georgia, from 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. on Saturday, July the 31st. You're invited to worship with the Greater Morris Tabernacle Baptist Church today. Conference call as follows: Sunday morning, worship at 9 a.m., Tuesday, midday prayer conference at 12 noon, Thursday, prayer meeting and Bible study at 6 p.m. The call-in for conference call is 229-329-7611, 229-329-7611. And worship service will be held today on the grounds at 9 a.m. at the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. Mother Lucille Shazer, Church Mother, Deacon Kenneth Smith, Program Chairman, Deacon Tommy Ford, Chairman of Deacons, Dr. K.M. Williams is the pastor. Friends, that conclude our announcements for this morning, and we pray that you would govern yourselves accordingly. And now for dedications. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following: in loving memory of Mrs. Beulah Patterson, who departed this life July 6, 1993. Dedication requested by the Mount Zion First African Baptist Church, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Mary Hamilton, who departed this life July 7, 2003, and would have celebrated her birthday July 7, 1932. Dedication requested by her children, grandchildren, and the entire family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Lena Harper Murray, who departed this life July 9, 1977. Dedication requested by the Adams, Cobb, and Hardeman family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Danita Davis, who departed this life July 10, 2007. Dedication requested by her beloved sister, Miss Mary Frances Davis, and the entire family. Precious memory lingers still. In loving memory of Mr. Jesse Fulks, who would have celebrated his birthday July 11, dedication requested by his beloved family, gone but not forgotten. In loving memory of Mrs. Eddie Lou Cray, who departed this life July 11, 2012, dedication requested by her beloved family, gone but not forgotten. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following. Happy birthday to Minister Annette Clark, who celebrated her birthday Tuesday, July 6. Dedication requested by her beloved husband, Elder J.C. Clark, her beloved children, grandchildren, and the entire family. Minister Annette Clark, birthday July the 6th. Happy birthday and many more. I guess I have to bake you a potato pie. Bless you. Happy birthday to Mr. Ron Johnson, who celebrated his birthday Tuesday, July 6th. Dedication requested by the Johnson family. Happy birthday to Mr. Frank Brown, who celebrated his birthday Wednesday, July 7th. Dedication requested by the Brown family. Happy birthday to Mr. Leonardo Jones, who will celebrate his birthday Wednesday, July 7th. Dedication requested by his wife, his mother, and the entire family. Happy birthday to Miss Ann Brooks, who celebrated her birthday Wednesday, July 7th. Dedication requested by her beloved mother, Deaconess Carrie Brooks, and the entire family. Happy birthday to Mrs. Martha Fulks Hamilton, who celebrated her birthday Saturday, July 10th. Dedication requested by her beloved family. And happy birthday to Mrs. Deborah Cobb, who celebrated her birthday Saturday, July 10th. Dedication comes from her husband, the Reverend Charles Cobb Sr., all of the children, grandchildren, members of the Spring Hill Baptist Church of Tippettville, Georgia, and the Free Providence Baptist Church of Diana, Georgia. Happy birthday to Miss Sherelle Mapp, who celebrated her birthday Saturday, July 10th. Dedication requested by her beloved children, her parents, and the entire McGill and Mapp family. Happy birthday to Miss Jan Peacock, who is celebrating her birthday today, July 11th. Dedication requested by the Peacock family. And happy birthday to Mrs. Fanny Pope, who will celebrate her birthday Tuesday, July 13th. Dedication requested by her beloved family. And again, happy birthday to Mrs. Valerie Levant, who celebrated her birthday during this past week, from a beloved husband, children, and the staff of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Our first selection this morning is dedicated to the following: Mr. Rosby Anderson and family, Miss Tamika Hardy and family, Mr. Marcus Carter and family, Miss Tia James and family, Mrs. Jasmine Smith and family, Mr. and Mrs. Jerome Anderson and family, Mr. Justin Ross and family, Mrs. Mary Frances Mathis and family, Miss Jeanette West and family, Mrs. Henry May Cherry and family, Mrs. Maddie Sue Bryant and family, Mrs. Ernestine Woodson and family, Mayor Eddie and Mrs. Eddie Daniels and family, Mr. and Mrs. Roosevelt Lucas and family, Mr. and Mrs. Sonny Daniels and family, Deacon and Mrs. Carl Reuben Smith and family, Mrs. Fannie Mae Lester and family, Deacon Theodore Key and family, Deacon and Mrs. Joseph Williams and family, Miss Sakitha Bryant and family, Mr. and Mrs. John Henry Bimry and family, Miss Carrie Mae Holt and family, Deacon and Mrs. Eddie Clyde Allman and family, Mr. and Mrs. Eddie B. Woodson and family, Deacon David Anderson and family, Mr. James Boston and family, Deacon and Mrs. Robert Woodson and family, Mr. and Mrs. Louis Morrell and family, Mrs. Annie Watson and family, Mr. and Mrs. Larry Harris and family, Mrs. Jasper Bryant and family, Deacon and Mrs. Morris McClendon and family, Mr. Willie B. Barnes and family, Mr. E.K. Cheney and family, Mr. and Mrs. Carl Whitehead and family, the family of the late Deacon Time Whitehead of Unadilla, Georgia, Mr. and Mrs. W.B. Bryan and family, Mrs. Ola Beal and family, the Reverend Charles Anderson and family, Deacon and Mrs. London Child and family, Mrs. Ethel Ross and family, Mr. Evan Dawson and family, Mr. and Mrs. Anderson Jenkins and family, Mrs. Laverne Anderson and family, Mrs. Rebecca Brown and family, Mother Louise James Everett and family, Vienna, Georgia, Deacon Raymond Anderson and family, Mrs. Brula Anderson and family, Mrs. Mary Lizzie Bryant and family, Mrs. Dorothea Williams and family, Mrs. Deborah Redden and family, Mrs. Alice Oliver and family, Deacon Bob Fuse and family of Americus, Georgia. Our first selection for this morning. It is certainly with the deepest regret that we make the following announcements. Miss Carolyn Foster, age 88, of 510 East Forsyth Street, Americus, Georgia, died Wednesday, July 7th at the Phoebus Sumter Medical Center in Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Miss Carolyn Foster, age 88, will be held Monday, July 12th at 12 noon, graveside at the Eastview Cemetery in Americus, Georgia. Her pastor, the Reverend Tommy Law, pastor of the Welcome Baptist Church, will officiate. The public walk-up visitation will be today, Sunday, July 11th, from 1 until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Mrs. Connie Ruth Cottle Wright, age 77, of 136 Loop Road, Plains, Georgia, died Wednesday, July 7th at the Phoebus Sumter Medical Center in Americus, Georgia. The funeral service for Mrs. Connie Ruth Cottle Wright, age 77, will be held Wednesday, July 14, 2021 at 12 noon at Lebanon Cemetery in Plains, Georgia. Her pastor, the Reverend Shirley Strouder, pastor of the St. John AME Church of Plains, Georgia, will officiate. The Reverend George F. Muntz will deliver the eulogy. The public walk-up visitation will be Tuesday, July 13th from 1 until 5 p.m. at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. The J.W. Williams funeral directors serving Cordele and Vienna are in charge of each of these arrangements during this week. Our next and final selection for this morning is dedicated to the bereaved families whose loved ones were laid to rest during the past week. The family of Deaconess Gladys Brown Williams of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mrs. Eloise Tinsley Byram of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Mr. Dontavius Montrell Yah of Cordele, Georgia. The family of Miss Ella May Morgan of Americus, Georgia. The family of Mother Millie Lee Thornton Dean of Orlando, Florida. The family of her sister, Mother Mamie Ruth Mapp of Cordele, Georgia. The family of United States Army veteran, Mr. Benny Cross Jr. of Americus, Georgia. This election is dedicated to all of the bereaved families whose loved ones will be laid to rest during this week. The family of Miss Carolyn Foster of Americus, Georgia. The family of Mrs. Connie Ruth Cottle Wright of Plains, Georgia. This election is dedicated to all of the sick and shut-in, to all patients in the local and surrounding hospitals, nursing homes, and rehabilitation centers, to our beloved ministers and their devoted family members, to all retired educators, to the men and women serving in our armed forces, both stateside and abroad, to all veterans, and to everyone to everyone who listens to our program on each Sunday morning. It's a pleasure for us to bring it to you. Our program goes out in memory of our past president, Dr. Napoleon Williams, goes out to my wife, Mrs. Calandra Wilkerson Parker, to my son, Jai Wilkerson Parker. This selection goes out to my mother-in-law, Mrs. Billy Ann Hall, and family, to my brother, retired Chief Master Sergeant Norman F. Dexter, and to his wife, Dr. Gwendolyn Maxine Dexter, and family of Vienna, Georgia, and their grandson, Noble, and family. This selection goes out to my sister, Mrs. Mattie Mae Johnson, better known as Sister Girl, and Mrs. Patsy Jackson and her husband, Mr. Jim Jackson of Cordele, Georgia. This selection goes out to my nephew, Deacon Kenneth Smith, program chairman of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Missionary Baptist Church. Goes out to our pastor, Dr. K.M. Williams, to his wife, Sister Kathy Williams, and family. Again, invite you to worship this morning on the grounds of the Greater Morris Tabernacle Baptist Church at 9 a.m. This selection goes out to my neighbor, Mrs. Theron Jones, and family, and the entire Jones and Tarbert family, Mother Dorothy Tarbert and family, Mr. Johnny and Mrs. Juanita Tarbert, and the entire Tarbert family. To Mother Easter Byram and family, goes out to Mr. Cleveland R. Lemon, oldest staff member of the J.W. Williams Funeral Home. Good morning, Mr. Cleveland R. Lemon. This selection goes out to Mrs. Willie Mae Leary and family of Hatley, Georgia, the entire Leary and Carter family of Hatley, Georgia, Mother Martha Ruth Westbrook and family of Araby, Georgia. This selection goes out to Mrs. Lucille Hillsman and family of Ashburn, Georgia. This selection goes out to our beloved Miss Easter May Sanders and family. I'd like to say good morning to our dear friend, Mrs. Cheryl Henry and husband of Americus, Georgia. And this selection goes out to our friend of long standing and brother, the Reverend Johnny Dean, and all of the members of the New Poplar Springs Baptist Church of Byronville, Georgia. Selection goes out to my cousin, Deacon Emery Wright, and the entire Wright family of Albany and Lee County, Georgia. And Deacon Frank Mays and family, our final selection for this morning.
Yes, I'm going to walk. Oh, that will keep my way. Oh, child. Thank you for joining us this morning. We hope you've enjoyed our program. Tune in again on next Sunday morning. In your time of need, contact the competent, capable, and dependable staff at the J.W. Williams Funeral Home.
Some of these days.